Hey, what is going on, guys? In this video today, we're going to be going over some of the most likely reasons why you aren't getting better at Fortnite. It really doesn't matter whether you're the worst or the best player in the world, you should always be trying to improve. But at some point in every player's career, they hit a point where it seems like their skill level is mostly just staying the same, even over a very long period of time. So the goal of this video is to explain some of the main reasons why that happens, as well as how you can overcome the struggle of not being able to improve. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so the first thing I want to discuss in this video is the importance of challenging yourself as a player, and how that leads to much quicker improvement. In my opinion, the best way to do this is by playing either solo squads or solo duos. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, unless you're a truly great player, solo squatting or even just solo duoing is probably gonna be a pretty frustrating experience. It's just really hard to consistently win fights that begin as either a 1v2, 1v3, or 1v4 from the very beginning. But what these fights do, even if you aren't able to consistently win them, is it increases the speed of everything that you do. And I don't mean that only in a mechanical sense with things like building and editing, but also your decision making is going to become so much quicker and more decisive. When you're in a 1v1 or any kind of even team fight, you can take things pretty slowly. Anytime you aren't really sure what to do, you can just box up, think about your next move for a few seconds, and then execute it. But in solo squads or solo duos, that plain and simple isn't going to be possible the majority of the time. And the good thing is, the more and more you get used to these chaotic fights where you're at such a disadvantage, you're going to be so much more used to it when those situations arise in regular games. And even better than that is the fact that if you can become comfortable with fighting 1v2s, 1v3s, or 1v4s, then regular old 1v1s are going to seem like a piece of cake. Moving on, one of the best tips that I can give for improving as a player, and it's something that not many people do, is reviewing your own gameplay footage. I'm a firm believer that watching other great players play any kind of game is really going to help you get better, because you learn some of the tricks and tactics that they use to be successful. But at the same time, watching yourself play is just as, if not more important. There's a reason why any high-level sports team or even competitive video game players will watch film of pretty much every single game they play. When you're playing Fortnite and you're in any kind of intense fight, your entire focus is obviously going to be on winning the fight that you're currently in. You're going to be so laser focused on what's happening directly in front of you that a lot of the time you're going to miss other important aspects of playing the game. And I'm not trying to say that there's anything wrong with that, because it's pretty much impossible to avoid the majority of the time. For example, if you're in a close-range shotgun fight, you can't worry about things that aren't immediately relevant to you, such as another team rotating in the distance and the potential that they could ultimately third-party the fight that you're currently in. Since you can only focus on so many things at once, you're going to want to be distributing all your brain power to actions such as putting your shotgun crosshair on your enemy, building, and tracking the general position of all the players you're fighting. So that's where the value of reviewing your own footage really comes into play. When you can sit down and focus on every aspect of what was really going on around you, it makes it so much easier to identify the things that you did right, and more importantly, what you did that was wrong. This is something that I'll personally do pretty much every single time I die in a way that I didn't really understand when it happened in real time. And practically every single time I do that, I'll discover that I made some kind of a mistake. A really funny example of this from a few days ago is that I was in a close range fight with a player, and I pumped him for something like 90 damage, and then I got hit for 200 immediately after, even though my enemy definitely wasn't at point blank range. And when that happened, I was so angry. I basically yelled out something along the lines of, "Oh my god, how did he possibly one-pump me from that far away when I hit the same exact shot and only did 90 damage?" But then, when I went back and watched it in slow motion, I realized that I actually got sniped right before getting pumped because I mistakenly didn't place a wall on one of my sides, and the enemy's shotgun shot only did about 60 of the 200 damage that I took. That's just one example of some of the important things that you'll catch and learn from just by watching small snippets of your own gameplay. And even if you don't have any kind of capture card or recording software, this is still relatively easy to do. Your first option is to just use the replay mode that's built directly into the game. The positives of this are that you can slow down the footage and even move the camera around to see things that you wouldn't normally be able to see from your regular in-game POV. But replay mode can be a little clunky, and I know that some of you guys may even have it turned off because it gives a slight boost to your in-game FPS. If that's the case, as long as you play on either Xbox or PS4, you can take clips of anything that happens to you in-game. So anytime you want to review your footage in a certain situation, after it occurs, take a clip, watch it, see what happened, and then you can just delete it immediately after. Now, here's another really important tip that kinda relates back to watching your own gameplay, and it deals with a mindset you want to embrace that's so helpful when it comes to improving as a player. Fortnite, much like the vast majority of video games out there, features a decent amount of randomness and frustration. You're gonna have some deaths where you just feel absolutely cheated for one reason or another. I mean, look no further than Season X with things like the super overpowered mechs and the super annoying junk riffs. Because of all that, it's very easy to blame the game for your mistakes. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could probably blame every single death you have on something that you feel is totally out of your control. However, at the end of the day, that doesn't accomplish anything positive. Because when you convince yourself that you died to something that totally isn't your fault, you eliminate any chance of recognizing and learning from what happened. And trust me, I know that this is way easier said than done. I could probably find a million different clips of even the best Fortnite players in the world dying, and then claiming that they did nothing wrong and it's entirely the game's fault that they died. But let me give you an example of why that's kind of a cop-out in a lot of situations, and why it's also a pretty bad mindset to have. So let's say you're fighting a player in a close-range fight, and eventually you end up killing him. But as soon as that happens, you hear a brute moving into your immediate area, so you box yourself into a 1x1. Then, out of nowhere, 6 rockets explode on that 1x1, and you end up dying before you even have a chance to react. So obviously, on the surface, you're gonna react by saying, "Wow, the brute is so OP, this game is terrible, and that's the reason why I died." And I'm not gonna lie, you can definitely say that there's at least a little bit of truth there. But the better mindset to have here would be something like this. Man, the brute is so OP, I can't believe I died like that, but now that I think about it, since I just killed a player, the brute driver probably heard/saw that, and therefore knew my exact location. So instead of turtling inside a 1x1, which made me a really easy target for a barrage of rockets, I should have either ran, shockwaved, or launch padded away. Hopefully you guys understand why that's a better mindset to have. If you shift the blame away from the game and onto yourself, you can discover mistakes that you made that aren't super apparent unless you really think of them. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you watched the entire thing, be sure to let me know with a comment down the comment section below. Do you guys feel like you've improved at all as a player in Fortnite Season X? Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do whatever the heck you want, and I will catch you guys next time.